Hello guys, my name is Lala Serafimovic. I'm in my shared studio space in downtown Belgrade right now, and yeah, bad diction, I have to mouth more. I really feel like I should address the situation in the world right now that is happening to all of us, less or more. The fears that we're either hesitation or fears that we're having right now, which are definitely having facts that can prove that all of those hesitations and fears. And for me, it's like I really feel like I'm in a mood to film because there is a lot of time to spend indoors, and that is a regular type of time that artists spend if they're not plein air landscape paint, like classical painters, if they are spending a lot of their time in front of a computer working. So for digital artists, this is like almost like a regular routine thing, but with all the let's say restrictions time-wise and police hours after 8 p.m. At least in Belgrade. I don't know, let me know how it is in your country. And this is like, I wanted to address a few things that you might want to do to use this time very wisely, and I suppose there will be many more encouraging videos like this that might help you try to focus on what you really didn't have time to do before, or finish some things that you didn't have time finishing before. So yeah, let's go into some ideas and inspiration for creative people, what they could do indoors and still find their time very fulfilled and feeling less distracted from all the panic that is going on in the world. So this is my room with I wanted to film the beginning of the video with more light, general light, because this time of the day there is not so much in this room, and I'm using a lamp to add some more. So definitely something that I want to talk about is you should clean up your apartment or studio, which is not the case in this case in studio for me, but I'm going to do that these days pretty detailedly. For people who are messy and chaotic like me, I definitely do recommend spending time like rearranging your documents, doing some that doesn't sound creative, but that's something that creative people are mostly not good with, and now they have a little bit more time to do that. So yeah, maybe making a nice library, alphabetic alignments. Sounds pretty boring, but it's very helpful if you have a big library. And then trying to figure out what projects did you leave for some reasons, personal projects that you want to maybe finish during this time, or if you're missing up and you can stock up for your Etsy store. If you're Etsy store or owner, you can stock up with cutting, stickers, printing, whatever, if you're able to do that at home, like or studio like I do. And yeah, I was thinking, what could I, because our job, if you're not a photographer, not someone that has to interact with people to work every day, I came up with a lot of ideas. What should I film? Like, I wanted to film for a long time, but I still have so much footage, but to edit and publish on YouTube. But still, there are some nice video ideas that, like, I never had mentally space to do my vacuum honest review, which I think many more people should say about, especially about Mobile Studio Pro. and I want to do that. For example, this is the time when I will probably have 1 hour or two to make a nice list of pros and cons and still film it decently for people to see what happened to my equipment, which is still working, and if it's kind of a paying out to buy something expensive like that or not, in my opinion. But you can, based on pros and cons. I love that kind of videos. I almost never make them because I just started my YouTube channel, but those kind of videos are something that is really helping me to decide whether to buy something or not, or how should I like finish the project, like Jake Parker's YouTube channel, or Will Terry with his wonderful advice, or Steven Silver, whatever. If it is a hardware, if it is a software, or just art advice on how to manage your time, whatever it is, maybe for creatives there is always less. In my case, I'm messy. There is less time for me to think through and make schedule and really focus on time managing as an artist, as a freelance full-time. And I'm either my spine is just breaking on a chair for like days, and I'm trying to deal with the pain, not using painkillers, but just standing the pain, because I was so chaotic days before, and then I have to suck it up because I respect my clients, although I should always respect them more. I always feel like that. I always feel the guilt not being so. I always want to be a good person first, and then to be an artist in my profession. So the good person comes always first, but I have failures. Definitely, I do fail a lot. And I also learned when I was in Japan, I learned a lot. You will see the footage all through 2020 from Japan because I filmed so much, and yet I saw there's some kind of tendencies to perfection in every little thing they do on a daily basis, and it's just such a ordinary things that me as a person from Europe doesn't pay attention to that much. So I also saw that kind of dedication that I would like to I would like to be like them, definitely. So I can probably, with my tendency to be like them, I could probably be better and less chaotic and more organized. And on the other hand, sorry, there's just so many cars going through the street, and I hope I didn't make a lot of noise with that background noise. So I also learned that they have some kind of Kakeibo method, which you can definitely study online. There are lots of YouTube videos about it, and I found that I definitely that's also, I think that's a kind of a lifetime method for any sector, let's say sector of your life, like finance, handling, saving money, or how to go through tough times and just trying to go with a straight line as possible and having the result at the end. So all the Japanese methods that I found just spontaneously walking through the street, observing or talking to people was, and of course the dear Yuko and her friends, was really helpful, and being surrounded by Japanese culture in general learned me about how spontaneity that me as a European person have, as I have it, it can also be a disadvantage. It can be a con, for sure, when it comes to everyday routines, because I hate routines. And now, after 2 months in Japan, I definitely can say that there is a lot that I learned that is beautiful, that stands behind that routine and perfection methods of theirs. And yeah, so far that's it. Let's make a little cut, and then I will go to pros and cons on these tough times in the world. One more thing I really like about all this situation is that people seem to be very much aware of the, I'd say, severity of the situation, and I'm really proud of everybody that are conscious and trying not to, if they're younger like me, trying not to interrogate and go to see elderly people and probably pass the coronavirus to them. And I also think that we will definitely go through this, and I'm very optimistic. There also will be some sort of side effects, because I survived bombarding. I never thought I would do this kind of video for YouTube channel of mine, because it's artistic and travel inspired, but I was 7th grade when Bombarded started in Serbia in 1999, and I was like 13. I'm 1985, by the way, generation, so there was a certain type of post-traumatic period, although we were a lot outside when it's not bombarding because we were not going to school. This is kind of a more closed up and claustrophobic situation where you cannot go outside if they're not bombarding, because it's not that kind of situation. But what I wanted to say is, after 3 months of that, I could definitely recognize the fear in people, the way people are looking at each other's faces here now on the street and trying to see if other people are in fear, as probably their thing they should be, and how serious this is, because people are in Serbia less conscious about being in danger. You know, as soon as you're face in face with a danger, that's when you start thinking. But we're not extra precautious about anything, and that is probably like a lot of history of war in this area, in this region, and all that. So my grandmother survived many things, and even when she talks that calmly about it, that she was hungry for 10 years, so her husband could eat and her children could have some better nutrition, and she was hungry for them to eat, then you realize it's not that bad. You know, if you have somebody that is still alive, or you remember someone else's stories, then yeah, definitely I can see with my grandmother, and because I kind of had that 3 months bombarding experience as a teenager, that there will be some consequences when you are actually free to go out after that. So be prepared to feel weird when everything is allowed as normal as it would normally be. So definitely think about that and prepare yourself not to be too amazed when you go out because that's normal, just going back to normal. And I hope it will be as soon as possible. On the other hand, I didn't have time to, okay, I traveled much this last 2 years, I can say. But on the other hand, in the last 10 years, I could hardly have a time to read a book that is not a manuscript for a children's book that I'm potentially going to illustrate, or to watch a movie. I mean, I just, to go to theater, which is now online kind of, they're trying to make online to push on TV and internet as much as possible for us to have nice things to watch and learn something. On the other hand, I am so pleased that I can probably find a space, because I cannot see most of my friends are in the same mode and they think they should stay calm for a while. I can read a book for, I think, first time in a very long time, but have mental space for it. Not say time management in my case is very bad, but now I can learn about the routines and also put some things that I really love to do, and I have so much books that I want to read. or maybe subscription to Audible so I can draw something I love and still listen to narration of some books that I always wanted to read. And the pleasure of watching, like, let's say something more profane like Marvel movies, something that is a popular thing. But I enjoy Marvel movies, and it's always like 2 hours, and I cannot afford myself to watch movies when I want. It's so rare. I used to organize, my mother loves cinema and watching movies, and she is barely going out of the house because she's taking care of my grandmother, so I always go to the cinema, like the three of us, my boyfriend, my mother, and I, and that's when I watch the movie. It's like a total event. I spend much more time than if I would stream it online or something. Sorry, my hand is shaking. So yeah, I definitely do want to make sure this mess doesn't look like this anymore. That would make me more functional and efficient again after I can really be out of police hours and go outside and have coffee with my friends, like relaxed without danger that I can be blamed, that I can be guilty for something that happens to their health in the future. So in a safe zone, let's say if like month or two from now, I will have organized studio and nicer looking studio. I will probably read few books, which is crazy. I will have time to open my art books that I bought in Paris and study how somebody painted something and all those things that are so important to me, and I suppose to many of you. This is the time to use for those kind of things, like reading a book and watching some movies. I mean, I never have that. I don't allow myself. I don't even possess a TV since 2006 because I found my lifetime so much more valuable than spending it in front of a TV. Just random things filling up my mind, and yeah, I feel very proud of that actually. And I don't have kids, so there will be no need for online classes for my kids because I don't have any so far. So at this moment, so no need for TV. You can just take what you really want and soak in and enjoy. So you can always have some kind of I also heard from my some of my friends on a Viber group, very cool girls, all married, probably most of them have kids. They also saw some free virtual tours of museums and great expansion on Google Arts. So if you're an artist and you're trying to find some sort of inspiration, there is definitely a lot that you don't have to go on Pinterest. You can just walk through the museum and you're not there. So maybe using that opportunity as well. And now I will be talking about my plans, how to spend this kind of a not really framed amount of time indoors. So what I'm gonna be doing, it's definitely a plan, is filming a Wacom review. That's what really takes focus and time if you want to do it for someone to be useful. I'm definitely going through my library and see what I can benefit from reading or going through the books that I've illustrated that I can probably show in some future video. I will definitely work on something like new character designs because I came from Japan full of inspiration and ideas and references that refreshed my visual library, and I really really want to use it. So, but also the hardest part is that for me, is having an impulse to finish things because I work for like lower. I get more. How to say it? So my experience over the years, how to get jobs, and that's one of my models, and that very often works, is to get more work for less money. So I kind of have different and wrong kind of impulse to finish things and to wrap them up as soon as I am able to. And developing a new, let's say, unique personal portfolio pieces is the rarest thing I did in the last decade, and I really want to try to develop my personal new style that I can stand up for and spend enough time on each piece, which means in the initial amount of time, the first few attempts, there's gonna be a lot of failures and mistakes, and exploring the techniques that I really want to work with. If it's not digital, if I decide to go traditional, which I would definitely love, because I love to have original art that I can easily make a photo or a scan after. On the other hand, that takes even more time because you have to be more cautious because you don't have undo. That's why I want to have gouache instead of watercolor or something. And it is so hard to go out of your comfort zone when it comes to your drawing, and more like a thinking routine when you're drawing. So when you're making illustration, character design, sketching any concept, anything that you're passionate about, there is still that kind of impulse in me that I use for everyday work, which is wrap it up, finish it, let it look finished. And more academic approach, like going into depths, taking time, going back when I'm fresh and ready, and that's what I have and want to embrace in these times when I cannot be really social with people, and that is the hardest part, doing something completely different than my everyday routine, for, you know, as a freelancer. So I think that would be just, if I do only that would be just big enough. It would be very, I mean, big. Personally, on personal level, that would be a big deal if I can switch and create another mode, another routine when I approach to my potential new portfolio pieces. And I'm also sick of talking to people that I'm never potentially showing in full how much I can and the way I can paint and draw, just because of the previous story I told you, the reasons. And I'm just sick of it, you know, just do it. Just the thing Jake Parker said very very precisely is, people look at you like, some people say that your worst sketch is your average, like your ugliest sketch is something that is better reference than something that you were working for days and hours. On the other hand, I do have something that can look pretty decent right away. I do have that practiced, but I don't have the other where I really commit for days and do something like a personal project. And that is something I really have to work on, and to push myself, like just believing in myself that I can still elevate my mind to that point, to that stage and that level, and that I kind of convince myself through seeing the results that I can be a better artist. Commercial artist, any kind of art is art and doesn't need a proof. If it's a piece of art, it's a piece of art. If it has qualities that are timeless, then that's art. Call it character design, call it a landscape or architecture, call it whatever. But if it's on the level of art, it is recognizable, people can feel it, people can relate to the thing they see. That's why everybody respect figures in commercial art world as John Navarez, water tool pens, God knows how many are there who definitely embrace that kind of level, and they live in their daily routine with that kind of quality art that they produce. So if I suppose being self-confident is a part of that. I'm not really self-confident person as well. That's why I wanted to talk more to the camera, because when I listen to myself, I kind of find good things. Sorry, my phone. I find some good things that I've said, or sometimes I like my voice, sometimes I'm not. But I'm also journaling in a video form, and maybe in a few years it will be significant for my progress. Who knows? Which just watching myself, it sounds very egotistical, self-centered, and crazy. But video form is very powerful, especially when it comes to documenting what do you do and how, the way you do and the way you were trying things and thinking. So maybe that is also something that you want to think about. Maybe not public YouTube channel, maybe just videos for you that can document your progress. And then because also that is, when you film something, it is also like having another point of view, because when you do something, you're a subject, and when you see the video is definitely covering much more than you ever thought of. I didn't believe that, but now I see it's true. So I wish you all the best of your abilities to use during this period. I wish you to elevate your spirit in a ways that you never hoped for, but that you aim for it, that you have something in your mind planned, that you're still ambitious if you have kids with your kids, that they should not lose their time. Time is so precious that anybody could not just throw it through the window and just forget about it. It is also time to find some hours to relax and probably constructively educate themselves or just hang out, but still fill in your day the way you can. If you're a freelance artist, this is ideal situation for you to uncover your most the biggest problems within yourself as an art person, as a self-managing person who is just as a self-educating person, as positive thinker, and just move forward. Even if this is the period that totally messed up with your New Year's resolution for 2020, you can still find a way to be really, really, really cool and come up from this as a hero for yourself. If you can help people in a way, that makes you even a greater hero. But staying on a personal level to make plans and improve yourself indoors is just amazing, because if you're better, everyone around you are more happy and they can also benefit from that there. So don't think it's self-centered because if you're better, everyone are. Absolutely everyone else around you can be, it can be very beneficial. I hope you enjoyed. I did overlap this. My face is so unpleasant, unfortunately, at this period, because yeah, my skin is terrible, and because it's boring just to see my face talking, I suppose. It's not appealing and it's not interesting enough, so I overlapped it with this time-lapse of me illustrating something, and I hope you like it. If you like the art, please do comment. If you have any comments that can help others who are watching this video as additional advice and additional ideas how to spend their time, thank you for doing that. That is very valuable, and see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye. And you wouldn't believe what happened. So this is like a very very modest announcement, but it's a big deal for me. It's almost impossible to imagine 100 subscribers goal achieved on my YouTube channel, and I think that always reflects something like involvement and like trying to do things, trying to edit, trying to film the way you can, and keep going. So I just hope for 900 more anytime. I don't know what the future brings, but I'm so happy. And if you like traveling, if you like travel inspired content,
if you like illustration, if you're like a parent who wants to follow an illustrator who will make her own children's stories and illustrate them as a full author, if you're in any case interested in my videos, I would love to have you subscribed. Or even if you don't want to subscribe, and if you have some extra time, you can watch some of the videos. There are so many different locations I filmed on so far, and that I have to show in future. There will be a lot of Japan videos and a lot of tutorial and time lapses of me illustrating anything, and I'm so happy that you're here. So thank you and congrats to you. You're part of me and I'm part of you, and we're growing together. So thank you so much.